Now, making use of an opportunity, I'd like to share the idea I have found on the site Страна мастеров, Land of Masters. Shame on me, I have caught the idea, but unfortunately I have forgotten the author's name. I will be very thankful if you remind me the author's name in your comments. I am very thankful to the author for the idea, I like it very much. Very often it can be hard to lengthen the poles, especially for the ones who weave tightly. And it is hard to insert additional tubes in order to make a large, nice-looking decorative edge. Here I have applied the idea already. I was adding the tubes in the last row. In the last rows. The only thing I dislike about this very article is that the stitches are placed in front. Later I have realized that you can add the tubes not from outside, but from inside. Look, while weaving the last row but one, we bend one tube and insert it. As a result, we get two additional poles. In the first row they fall apart, of course. When I was lengthening the tubes this way for the first time on the article I have shown to you, I used to insert the tube this way. But if we insert them like this, especially if they are of the same color as our working tubes, they will be almost unnoticeable. The idea is very useful, thanks a lot to the author. It has appealed to me from the very beginning. I have tried it, and if any of you have missed it, I'd like to draw your attention to this idea. And our edging comes right to the point. This way we lengthen, weave one row. This way you add two tubes at a time, and you don't need any knitting needle to pull the tube through. Afterwards, when you start edge making, the tubes don't slide out and the tips do not stick. As for the stitches, they will not be seen because of the color and because they are placed inside. Besides, the third stage of the edging will cover it in front and the stitches will be entirely hidden. While weaving the next row, we straighten the poles. We place them so that the remaining green tube was to the left and the new yellow tubes to the right. This way we will get a pattern without the colors mixing with each other. So, we have straightened the poles. Now we are going to weave 2 or 3 more rows in order to fix the poles we have just added. Notice that here the loops were seen, if you look attentively, especially because they are of different color. This time we have hidden them inside, and the next stage of edge making will hide them so that they won't be seen from outside at all. Weave one more row and start edge making. As for the varieties of edge, after the first stage, in order to make the links of our chain smaller, rather round than oblong, you can try drawing the tubes not this way like we did last time, but here in the first loop. We do all the same actions, keeping the sequence, and you will see that our chain will be less elongated, as one of the possible varieties. And since we start talking about the varieties, let's discuss the varieties of color. Look, when I was adding the yellow tubes, I have formed the next row in such a way to leave a green tube to the left and yellow tubes to the right. But we could change the places and place the green tube in the middle and frame it with 2 yellow tubes. In this case, our pattern would look differently regarding the colors. Let's repeat what we have talked about the varieties. You can draw the tubes through the first or the second loop, or you could draw the tubes behind the second pole in the first stage. In this case, you would have gotten still more elongated chain. Or you can do it the way I am doing this time, behind one pole and then in front of one pole through the first loop. As for the colors, we have already discussed the possible varieties. So this type of edging can be varied in 2 aspects: colors and the way you lead the tubes, the number of the poles you embrace with working tubes. You see, the chain is getting more compact. I like the way it looks very much as well. Before I finish, let me tell you a few more words of what is there interesting about this type of edging. It is decorative, volumetric. You can make it more oblong or more compact, more tight. The way the edge looks depends on the intervals between the poles and the number of the poles you are going to embrace with your working tubes. Then the varieties of color are also possible, and one more essential point I'd like to draw your attention to is moistening the tubes. Thanks a lot to my inspirers. Good luck to all of you.